The first transmission came at dawn. A sound like a heartbeat trembled through every receiver on Earth. Steady, rhythmic, alive. The scientists in Geneva called it the echo from Orion. But when the static cleared, and a soft voice spoke through the machines, humanity realized it wasn't an echo. It was a plea. We come not to conquer, but to trust. The voice belonged to Queen Althea of Elindra, a civilization far older and wiser than Earth could imagine. Her people were weary from centuries of cosmic war, and their final act of peace was to entrust what was most precious to them, their princess Liara, to humankind. The world froze. Governments argued, philosophers wept, and priests fell silent. Why would an alien queen send her only daughter to Earth? Some believed it was a test, others thought it was a trap. And yet, when the Elindran vessel descended above, the Pacific like a falling star, shimmering with light that rippled the clouds, everyone felt something deeper, a pull in the heart. The ship opened like a flower, and from its core stepped a girl who looked almost human, her silver hair glimmering like liquid light, her eyes vast and deep as galaxies. She wore no crown, only a thin, luminescent robe that seemed woven from dawn itself. "I am Liara of Elindra," she said softly. "My mother believes in your kind." Her voice was melodic, almost trembling, as though she feared her words might break the silence between worlds. The UN assembled a small delegation to receive her. Soldiers stood guard, scientists recorded everything, and among them was Captain Aaron Holt, a quiet, steady man known for his calm under chaos. He had fought in human wars, seen cities fall, and yet when he saw Liara step barefoot onto Earth's soil, he felt his chest tighten with something unexplainable. She smiled at him, a small, uncertain smile that carried the weight of stars. "Is your world always this loud?" she asked, gazing at the cameras, drones, and shouting officials. Aaron chuckled softly. "Only when something beautiful arrives." The first weeks were chaos. Liara was studied, questioned, and isolated within a high-security habitat. They said it was for her safety, but Aaron could see how lonely she became behind the transparent walls. Every day she pressed her hand against the glass, watching the world beyond with wide, aching eyes. He was assigned as her security liaison, but it quickly became more than duty. He would talk to her through the glass, telling her stories of rain, of oceans, of laughter. And sometimes, late at night, she would hum strange songs, melodies that made even the guards stop and listen, tears shining in their eyes without knowing why. Then came the whispers. Some humans feared her, some wanted her power, and some wanted her gone. When riots broke out in the city, the officials decided to move her to a secret location. Aaron volunteered to escort her personally. "Do your people always fear what they do not understand?" she asked quietly as they boarded the transport craft. "Yes," Aaron said after a long pause. "But some of us try to learn instead." She looked at him, really looked. "Then perhaps my mother chose wisely." Outside, thunder rumbled. Inside, a fragile bond began to form, a bridge between two hearts, two species, and two worlds that had never meant to meet. But neither of them knew. The gift of the stars always came with a price, and soon humanity would discover whether it truly deserved to be trusted. Rain fell for the first time since Liara's arrival. She stood by the window of her new quarters, watching droplets trace trembling paths down the glass. To her, it looked like the sky was crying, and she whispered almost to herself, "Does your world mourn so often?" Aaron, standing nearby with his hands in his coat pockets, smiled faintly. "Not mourn. Refresh. It's how the sky begins again." She tilted her head, studying the water with innocent wonder. "On Elindra, our skies sang when they wished to begin anew." Her words carried warmth, yet a faint ache too. Aaron had seen refugees before, but none carried loss so gracefully. The human world called her the alien princess, but in truth she was just a girl torn from her stars, wrapped in the silence of unfamiliar air. That night, Earth seemed to breathe differently. The cameras were gone, the scientists dismissed, and the endless questions finally stopped. For the first time, Liara was free from the eyes of the world. Erin prepared her quarters with quiet care. Soft lights, warm blankets, a small potted plant by the bedside. Humans keep these close, he explained. They remind us we're alive. Liara touched the green leaves with awe. Life contained in silence, she murmured. We had gardens that sang to us, but perhaps this is gentler. Erin hesitated, then asked, Do you miss your home? She turned to him slowly, silver eyes shimmering. I miss what it meant to belong. The words cut through him. In the hum of rain, they sounded heavier than they should. He nodded, unable to find the right reply. For years, he'd thought he understood loss. Comrades, wars, cities turned to dust. But this alien girl, speaking softly about belonging, made him realize he had only touched its surface. Later that night, the alarms blared. A group of radicals, anti-contact extremists, had located the facility. Their shouts echoed through the corridors. She's a danger, she's not one of us. Erin acted fast. He burst into Liara's room. She stood frozen, the rain now flashing with the light of explosions beyond the perimeter. Stay behind me, he ordered. But they're your own people, she whispered. Why do they hate what they do not? No? Because fear is easier than faith, he said grimly, pulling her toward the exit. They ran through the emergency tunnels, shadows flickering across the walls. The sound of human chaos followed them. Boots, shouting, gunfire. For a moment, Erin thought he heard her sob, but when he looked back, her face was calm, eyes glowing faintly in the dark. You risk much for me, she said. You're under my protection. But who protects you? The question stopped him for a heartbeat. No one ever had. Not really. They reached a service hatch that led outside. Wind howled, cold and sharp. He helped her climb out into the night. The city below burned faintly. Sirens, rain, and fire painting the skyline. Your world bleeds, she whispered. It always has, Erin replied. But it also heals. He pulled off his jacket, wrapping it around her trembling shoulders. The fabric looked absurdly human against her luminous skin. She clutched it close, eyes softening. Warmth, she murmured, closing her eyes. I didn't know your world could give warmth like this. It can, he said quietly, when it chooses to. For a long moment they stood in silence beneath the rain. Two fragile lives, one born of stars, the other of soil, bound by the simplest thing, trust. That night became a story whispered across the world. The night a soldier sheltered a princess not of earth. But neither knew what the world would do next. For though the queen had trusted humanity with her daughter, the true test was only beginning. And some humans would see her not as a gift, but as a key. By dawn, the city was in ruins. Smoke hung over the horizon like a mourning veil, and the news channels overflowed with chaos. Alien princess missing, the headlines screamed. Some called her a symbol of peace. Others called her a threat to humanity's sovereignty. Liara and Erin had taken refuge in an abandoned observatory in the hills, a place where the stars were still visible through the broken roof. The air smelled of rain and dust, the silence heavy but not unkind. Liara sat by the cracked telescope, gazing upward. Your sky is so full of noise, she said softly. Yet it feels lonelier than ours ever was. Erin leaned against the cold metal railing, exhaustion shadowing his face. That's because we stopped looking up. We look at screens now, not stars. She turned her gaze toward him. Then why did your kind accept my mother's gift? You were not ready to trust. He hesitated. Because even broken worlds crave miracles. There was a stillness after that, a kind that makes hearts listen. Liara reached for the telescope, aligning it carefully. She gestured for him to look. When Erin peered through it, he saw not stars, but a projection of Alindra's night. Sky, blue constellations shaped like wings and spirals glowing faintly in the dark. It's beautiful, he whispered. Her voice trembled. It was home. Now it's fading. Every hour I stay away, Alindra grows weaker. My mother. She linked my life to our planet's core. To keep me safe means letting my world wither. Aaron froze. You mean, you're dying if you stay? Not dying, she said, smiling faintly. Dimming. He sat beside her, his chest tightening with helplessness. Then we have to find a way to contact your people. Liara shook her head. The Queen sealed all communication, she said. Let humanity choose who they are when no one watches. My being here, it's a mirror to your souls. Her words struck him like lightning. What kind of trust was this, to hand your child to strangers and let their choices define the worth of your faith? Outside, thunder rolled again. The storm was coming back. Aaron lit a small lantern, its glow soft against the cracked walls. Then we'll prove her faith wasn't wasted, he said. You're not dying here, not on my watch. Liara studied him, her gaze unreadable. You carry pain in your eyes, Captain. Why fight so hard for me? He looked down. Because once I couldn't save someone I should have. Her voice softened. And now you try to save the universe in her place? He gave a tired smile. Something like that. Before he could say more, the silence shattered. A loud hum echoed outside. He rushed to the doorway and saw sleek silver drones descending like mechanical vultures. The government had found them. Stay close, he said, drawing his pulse weapon. They'll take you back alive if we're lucky. Liara touched his shoulder. You cannot fight your own kind for me. I already am. The drones fired warning beams, scorching the earth near the observatory. Liara's eyes flared with pale light. Her voice rippled through the air, resonating like 1,000 whispers. The machines froze mid-air, trembling as if caught in invisible threads. Aaron watched in awe. What are you doing? I'm reminding them, she said, her tone suddenly ancient, regal. That piece is not found through chains. The drones collapsed, smoke rising from their shells. She swayed, drained, and Aaron caught her before she fell. Her skin was cold, her pulse faint. Liara, stay with me, she smiled weakly. Every act of kindness weakens my tether to home. But perhaps this is what it means to be human. Aaron held her tightly, heart pounding. Outside, sirens wailed closer. He knew what he had to do, get her to safety no matter the cost. But as he looked down at her fragile form glowing faintly in his arms, he couldn't help but wonder. Was humanity worthy of her mother's trust? Or had they already failed? Night fell again, deep, cold, and trembling. Aaron's boots crunched over gravel as he climbed the ridge behind the observatory, Liara leaning weakly against him. The glow in her veins pulsed slower now, like fading moonlight beneath her skin. You should have left me, she whispered. They would not harm you if I was alone. That's not how we do things, Aaron said firmly. At least, not how we should. They reached a cave nestled among the rocks, hidden beneath an outcrop. Inside, the air was damp and still. Aaron guided her to sit near a dying campfire he'd made earlier, sparks flickering like lost stars. Liara gazed into the flames. On Alindra, fire is sacred. It's the breath of life, the warmth of trust. Aaron smirked faintly. On Earth, we mostly use it to burn things. Her soft laugh echoed like silver chimes. And yet you still make warmth from destruction. She paused, studying him. Perhaps that's what makes you beautiful. He looked away quickly, unsure how to respond. For years, no one had called humanity beautiful. Not after all the wars, not after the cities drowned and burned. Outside, the storm had passed. The stars returned, distant and cold. Liara tilted her head toward the sky, eyes shimmering. They're calling me, she murmured. The stars remember their own. Aaron leaned beside her. What do they say? She closed her eyes. They say my mother watches. That she still hopes. He was silent for a moment. Then softly, hope's a dangerous thing here. Then perhaps, Liara said, your kind has forgotten what danger truly is. A faint smile curved her lips, but it faded as she winced in pain. Aaron knelt beside her immediately, worry etched deep in his face. Her skin was cooler now. The light beneath it dimmed even further. You're weakening faster, he said. There must be something we can do. There is, she whispered. But it requires something your world has almost lost. What's that? Unity. The word hung in the air like a fragile dream. She explained. Elindra's essence was built upon harmonic fields of emotion. When her people were united in purpose, their energy flowed freely. But here, surrounded by conflict, fear, and suspicion, her energy withered. "If I am to live," she said, "your people must find harmony within themselves." Even for a moment, Aaron laughed quietly, bitterly. "Then we're doomed." But Liara's expression remained soft, unshaken. "Not if someone reminds them how." Before he could ask what she meant, her eyes fluttered open wider, glowing faintly blue. "They're coming again," she said. "But not soldiers. Others." Aaron stepped toward the cave mouth, scanning the ridge. Shapes emerged through the mist. Half a dozen figures in protective suits carrying equipment that glowed faintly green. They weren't soldiers. They were scientists. A woman's voice echoed, sharp but familiar. "Captain Holt!" "You're alive." It was Dr. Mira Chen, the lead xenobiologist from the initial contact team. Relief flooded Aaron's chest, but it was short-lived. He noticed the containment devices in their hands. "We're here to help her," Mira said. "The Queen's envoy sent data. We might stabilize her." "Stabilize," Aaron repeated. "Or control?" Mira hesitated. "You know how politics work, Aaron. If she dies, the Alliance dies. If she lives uncontrolled, the world panics." Aaron looked back at Liara, whose faint smile never left. She had heard every word. "Let them try," she said softly. "If your people wish to save me, they must touch what they fear most." Mira nodded, motioning for her team to begin. Strange devices hummed, casting golden light over the cave. Aaron stayed beside Liara, holding her hand as the air vibrated with alien resonance. Then, something extraordinary happened. The machines began to glow brighter, but not from power, from emotion. Every pulse of human hope, every breath of awe and fear flowed through the resonance. The air shimmered. For the first time since her arrival, Liara's light brightened, not through science, but through feeling. Mira stepped back, speechless. "She's responding to us." Liara opened her eyes, tears of pure light sliding down her cheeks. "Your hearts. They remember." Aaron squeezed her hand gently. "Maybe we just needed a reminder." For a brief, perfect moment, the cave glowed with harmony, human and alien souls resonating as one. But deep within the Earth's static-filled airwaves, another signal awakened. Cold, watching, calculating, and somewhere far away, Queen Althea's voice whispered through the void. "The trial begins." The resonance faded slowly, leaving only the soft crackle of fire and the sound of human breath trembling in the quiet cave. Dr. Mira Chen stepped back from the humming devices, her face pale with disbelief. "She's stable. At least for now," she said. "But whatever's keeping her alive, it isn't just our tech. It's us." Aaron glanced down at Liara. Her glow had steadied, faintly pulsing with each heartbeat. She looked peaceful, almost asleep. "Then we keep her close to people," he said firmly. "Real ones. Not cages, not scientists, humans." Mira frowned. "That's not a decision you can make alone. The Council's in chaos. They're demanding her return to the capital. Some nations want to study her. Others want to hide her." Aaron's jaw tightened. "And if we send her back to people who only see her as an experiment, she'll die anyway." A silence stretched between them, filled only by the soft hum of the Alindran resonance field. Then Liara's voice rose, weak but clear. "Let them come," she whispered. "Let them see, not my power, but what their hearts can do." Aaron knelt beside her. "You think they'll listen?" Her smile was faint, sad. "Every world begins its redemption with one who chooses to believe." By noon the next day, the cave had become something sacred. Word had spread, through hacked networks, leaked recordings, whispers on social feeds. People were walking, driving, even climbing to reach the hills where the Star Princess lay. Not out of curiosity this time, but out of something closer to faith. By dusk, thousands had gathered. Soldiers kept a distant perimeter, unsure whether to stop or protect them. Mira watched from the ridge. "They're coming from every nation," she said softly. "No orders, no flags, just people." Aaron looked down at Liara, lying on the ground wrapped in his jacket. Her eyes opened slowly, their glow deepening like starlight through water. "They came," she murmured. "Your people came." When the first child stepped forward, barefoot, clutching a wilted flower, the silence was total. The girl placed the flower beside Liara's hand. Then one by one, others followed. Some knelt, some wept. Some simply stood with eyes closed, hands raised to the stars. The resonance field shimmered again. Liara's breath deepened. Her voice flowed like music through the air. "Do you see now?" she whispered, every word echoing within hearts instead of ears. "Your strength is not in your power, but in your compassion." Lights began to dance above them, soft trails of energy spiraling like ribbons through the sky. Layara's tears turned to starlight, each drop glowing brighter as it fell to the ground. "This is humanity," she said, the fragile, defiant song that even the stars can hear. Aaron stood guard near her side, awe and fear battling in his chest. All around them, strangers clasped hands. Old enemies stood side by side. The air vibrated with unity, something the world hadn't felt in generations. Then, the sky tore open. A beam of crystalline light descended, filling the valley with a sound like 1,000 voices whispering in harmony. It wasn't destructive, it was majestic. A shape emerged within the glow, tall, regal, luminous beyond description. Queen Althea. Her form was half-transparent, projected through cosmic space. Her voice was both thunder and lullaby. "Humans of Earth," she spoke, "you have been watched. My child was not given to you in weakness, but in trust, to see if your hearts could rise beyond your fears." The crowd trembled, silent and still. Aaron stepped forward, defiant yet reverent. "Then look at them now, Your Majesty. Look what they chose tonight." The Queen's gaze fell upon her daughter. "Layara, do you still believe?" Layara smiled faintly. "More than ever, Mother. They may fall, they may break, but they remember how to love." Althea's expression softened. "Then humanity has passed its first trial." The beam began to fade, but before it did, her voice lingered in the air like a promise. "Remember, humans, trust once given can never return untouched. You have earned our watchful hope. Do not let it die." As the light vanished into the heavens, a hush fell over the crowd. Liara turned to Aaron, her silver hair shimmering like dawn. "The Queen believes in you," she whispered. "Now your world must decide what to do with that belief." Aaron looked out across the sea of faces, human, tear-streaked, awed. "Then let's show her," he said. That trust wasn't misplaced. And in that moment, under the silent canopy of stars, Earth changed, not by conquest, but by compassion. The morning after the Queen's appearance, the world felt different. News outlets broadcast images of people standing hand in hand beneath the starlit sky. Soldiers lowered their weapons. Riots ceased as if silenced by something greater than fear. But peace, as Aaron knew too well, was a fragile guest. It never stayed uninvited for long. The UN convened an emergency summit. Scientists debated what the Queen's trial truly meant. Some believed it was the dawn of interstellar diplomacy. Others whispered it was the calm before invasion. And through it all, Liara lay recovering in the hilltop sanctuary that had once been a cave and was now surrounded by tents, medics, and quiet pilgrims who came simply to be near her. Aaron stood watch outside her enclosure, his uniform stained, his face shadowed with sleepless nights. Yet when Liara awoke, her first word was his name. "Aaron." He turned, soft relief flooding his voice. "Hey, easy now. You've been out for a day." Did they hear her?" she asked weakly. "My mother's words?" He nodded. "They heard. The whole planet did." Liara smiled faintly, but her gaze darkened. "Then they must also prepare for what follows." Aaron frowned. "What do you mean?" "Every trial has a second question," she murmured. "And the Queen does not ask with words. She asks with consequence." Before he could reply, a tremor shook the ground. Equipment rattled, people screamed, and a deep hum filled the air, a resonance so low it felt alive. Above them, clouds swirled into a massive spiral, and from within the vortex descended a sphere of light. Elyndran in design, vast and pulsing with unknown energy. Dr. Mira Chen ran toward Aaron, eyes wide. "It's not an attack," she shouted over the rising wind. It's a message capsule, from the Queen." The sphere landed silently on the plateau, unfolding into a circle of shimmering panels. And from it, A holographic image of Queen Althea appeared once more. Taller, colder this time. Her gaze carried both sorrow and warning. "Children of Earth," she began, "your unity last night stirred the cosmic field. You proved your hearts still hold compassion. But now comes the greater question. Will you protect what you understand, when it costs you everything?" Her words rippled through the air. A holographic map formed beside her, showing Earth surrounded by faint, flickering red lines, signals from orbit. "There are others," Althea said. "Worlds that watched as I entrusted my daughter to you. They do not believe in your mercy. They come to take what they fear you will corrupt," Mira whispered, horrified. "An invasion?" Aaron clenched his fists. "She's warning us." The Queen's gaze softened as she turned toward her daughter. "Liara, child of Elindra, your mission has changed. You will no longer be a guest. You are now the bridge. Humanity must stand with you, or lose what it's begun to become." The projection dimmed, leaving behind a single Elindran artifact glowing faintly on the ground, a crystal sphere humming with rhythmic light. Liara reached out, her hand trembling as she touched it. "This is the heart of Elindra," she whispered. "It binds thought and faith. It connects life to life." Aaron looked from her to the crowd gathering nearby. "And if those other worlds come, then your kind must decide if peace is worth fighting for," Liara said quietly. "You can destroy to protect, or protect to create. That choice will define you." That night, the world didn't sleep. Nations that once glared at each other across oceans now shared transmissions of strategy. Scientists worked beside soldiers. Artists painted banners that read, "We are one." Aaron watched from the hilltop as Liara sat beneath the stars, the heart of Elindra pulsing in her lap. Its light reflected in her eyes like twin galaxies. "Do you believe we can do it?" he asked softly. "I believe belief itself shapes reality," she said, voice barely a whisper. "And I have seen the moment a broken heart can heal a world." Aaron smiled faintly. "You sound more human every day." "Perhaps," she said, looking up at him, "or perhaps humanity sounds more Elindran than it knows." Thunder rolled. Across the horizon, distant, powerful, not of storm but of engines awakening in orbit. Humanity's test was no longer one of compassion. It was of courage. And as dawn bled gold across the sky, Aaron knew that when history remembered this day, it would not ask what the Queen had given them. It would ask what they did with her trust. The skies over Earth had never looked so alive. Every radar station across the planet lit up with signals, foreign, vast, and moving closer. The coalition of alien fleets had arrived, answering the Queen's unspoken challenge. For 3 days, humanity prepared. There were no speeches of war, no anthems of vengeance, only quiet determination. Farmers donated fuel, engineers rewired satellites into communication relays. Even children painted the words, "We stand together," on rooftops visible from orbit. And at the heart of it all stood Liara. Wrapped in Aaron's jacket, the heart of Elindra cradled in her hands, she stood upon the hill where she had once fallen. Her glow was no longer fragile. It pulsed with something new, an echo of Earth's heartbeat. Aaron approached, his expression steady but shadowed by worry. "They're in orbit now," he said. "The Council's terrified. They want to negotiate, or surrender." Liara looked up at the morning sky, calm as sunrise. "They won't listen to words," she said softly. "But they might listen to harmony." Aaron frowned. "Harmony?" She turned to him, eyes luminous. "Your world is divided by voices. But if you can make them speak as one, if every human heart beats the same song, then even stars must bow to that sound." He didn't understand fully, but he trusted her. And trust, he'd learned, was stronger than knowledge. The following night, the alien armadas appeared, vast and terrible. Their ships blotted out constellations, cities trembling under their shadows. Panic rippled across nations, until one signal broke through every channel on Earth. Aaron's voice. "This is Captain Aaron Holt, speaking to every soul who calls this world home. We've been given a chance to prove who we are. Not to fight, not to beg, but to stand, together. His words echoed through radios, phones, loudspeakers, and hearts. They think humanity's too broken to deserve trust. But tonight, we show them we are more than fear and fire. We are one voice, one light. And we'll show the stars what that means. Liara stepped forward then, raising the heart of Alindra. Its pulse quickened, matching the rhythm of billions of human heartbeats. Every satellite, every power grid, every pulse of human thought began to sync. Mothers held their children. Soldiers looked to the heavens and lowered their weapons. Across deserts, seas, and cities, Earth glowed. The light rose upward, a golden current of emotion and unity that reached beyond clouds and touched the alien fleet. From orbit, the Alindran ships hesitated. Their sensors screamed impossible readings: love, courage, empathy, all measurable energies. Within the largest vessel, the commanders faltered. One whispered, "They're resonating. The human field, it's matching Alindran purity." Liara's voice joined Aaron's over the global signal, calm yet carrying power beyond physics. "We are not perfect," she said, "but perfection is not the measure of worth. It is the courage to keep believing in each other even when it hurts." As she spoke, the heart of Alindra burst with light, sending waves of golden radiance through the sky. From above, the armadas began to change formation, not into an attack, but into alignment. Ships repositioned, forming a vast halo around Earth. The same shape Alindrans used to honor new allies. Then, through the open channels, a voice resonated. A voice not of war, but of awe. They have passed the second trial. Queen Althea's image shimmered across the heavens, her tone now filled with emotion. "You have shown us that trust can awaken worlds. Humanity, you are no longer a child among stars. You are kin." The fleets turned, vanishing into the void one by one until only silence remained. In the days that followed, the hill where Liara had first arrived became a sanctuary of peace. The war that never began became known as the night humanity sang. Aaron sat beside Liara under a dawn sky painted in gold. She looked weaker again, her body flickering faintly, her light dimming with peace achieved. "You're fading," he said softly. "I'm returning," she whispered. "My task is complete. Your world doesn't need a guardian anymore. It needs to keep believing." He reached for her hand, holding it tight. "You changed us," she smiled, eyes glistening. "No, Aaron. You changed yourselves. I only reminded you what you already were." Her glow brightened once more, and a single tear fell from her cheek, crystallizing into light. "Give this to your world," she said, "a memory of the night you became more than human." He held her as she dissolved into 1,000 sparks of soft radiance that rose to the stars. Returning home, yet leaving warmth behind. When the dawn broke fully, the first rays of sunlight touched the crystal in Aaron's hand. It pulsed once like a heartbeat, and somewhere beyond the veil of galaxies, Queen Althea whispered, "They did not fail, my daughter. Humanity has learned to love as we once did." Aaron looked up at the sky, calm, endless, beautiful, and whispered, "Thank you, Liara, for showing us what it means to be worthy of the stars." And from that day on, Earth was never the same.